have the Chiefs.
I think they're not getting better, and that's my thing.
Since the first Super Bowl they won, have they legitimately gotten better year to year to year?
Maybe,
or have they just stayed the same?
When they got rid of Reek, maybe they did get better because he wasn't there anymore. They had Travis Kelce going crazy, Pacheco, like they were a solid offense. But now it's like you've seen this so many times, and
it's the Patriots.
It's not like they're unstoppable, man. Listen, Mahomes is GOAT status. Like, listen, he's a great elite quarterback. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day. Yeah. Andy Reid, like it's not like your players are not better than theirs. Like, if you're talking about the Ravens, I'm taking the Ravens players and personnel over the Chiefs any day. Yeah. Any day. Buffalo, maybe. I mean, I might have more people on the defensive side for the Chiefs than the offensive side for the Chiefs, but it's not like they're a beatable team, and that is the one obstacle that both of these teams just can't get over. Yeah. And you have to be, if you want to be great, you want to win a Super Bowl, that is your number one. That's Super Bowl A, is getting through the Kansas City Chiefs. After that, you could win any game. You could be any team in the NFC. But again, that just goes to show the dominance of the Chiefs. But what I saw last year, what we saw when I was sitting over here and you were sitting here and we were watching this game, that Eagles team was either the best team I've ever seen on paper and that the NFL has ever seen to exist, or the Chiefs are just not that good anymore.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The B Team. We got Mikey over there.
What's up?
Muller over here. Today we're going to get through some NFL lines. We're going to go through the Week 1 schedule, all those lines. We're going to go through win totals. We got a few parlays on my end. I know Mike's got some stuff on his end. Some player futures, all that good stuff that'll make you money or do what we do, which is lose the money.
But that's if you fade us,
either way, it's fun.
You know what? I'm really curious.
Us? Us?
Me. Wait. If I somehow do worse this year, compared to last year, we have a problem, and you might have to kick me out. I might just have to be a straight golfer for the pod, and you have someone who actually knows their shit come in.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right?
That's fair.
Okay.
No, I mean, we did this with...
It still worked, though.
Well, we did this with Gassy, where actually looking back on it, it's kind of ironic how that all turned out because he ended up leaving. That was on his own accord. Mm-hmm. We did not kick Gassy off.
No,
we need
Gassy
to make that
did
very
it
clear.
himself.
But he was
resigned.
doing so bad in the books. Like, every time he picked something, he was hitting on one of every 10.
He made me look good.
Yeah, and you were not doing well.
I wasn't doing that good either. The first year we were like neck and neck for, spread records. Last year was an absolute shit show wash. Yeah. And then this year, you have your up and downs. That was the sophomore slump. We're gonna go into year 3 and we're gonna get after it. And I'm excited.
Year 1, you kind of were like, I don't want to say auto-determined as the loser, no matter how bad Gassy did, but you kind of were auto-determined, like even if you got all your picks right, because you just didn't send picks in half the weeks.
Yes.
That was brutal.
True.
But then you tried to claim them as wins because you didn't lose. Crazy. But yeah, I think we just have to keep implementing the suspension system.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Maybe we should make it tougher this year.
I don't know. I kind of liked our format. What else would we do? What else would we do?
I think if you get 2 weeks wrong in a row. Because 3 weeks, it's like, all right, you get a suspension, but like then you just come back and you lose again.
So if you go 0 for 4, so obviously you have the over-unders and the spread. If you go 0 for 4, you're already a week on probation.
Well, 0 for 2, because we do the 1 pick for both now. We don't do 2.
What do you mean? We don't do over-unders anymore? We're over that?
No, we do.
Yeah.
But it's only 2 picks.
Yeah, so spread, over-under.
So that's 2 picks.
So week 1 and then week 2 would be over-under spread.
Yeah.
So you want to get on probation after 1 week. No, we can't do that.
Yeah,
there's no
I
fucking
think
way.
that's fair.
No, it's not. No, I am voting down on that. We are
all right,
not
no,
doing
that's fine.
it.
That's fine. But if you go,
I'll do 2 weeks. If you go 0 for 2 for week 1 and then 0 for 2 week 2, then
how about this? How about this? If at any moment in the season, we'll eliminate the suspension unless you go 0 for 6. All right, you get suspended if you go 0 for 6. Right, that has to happen.
Okay,
has to happen. And then if you come back and go 0 for 6 again, 2 weeks. I think we just have to do that because at that point, it's like, why are we even taking your picks? Like, we got to save the people some money.
I mean,
but listen. If at any moment throughout the schedule, right, any 2-week period. So like, let's say week 1 you go 2-0.
Okay.
Right. But then week 2 you go 1-2 or 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah. And then the next week you go 0-2. I think it should be minus 1 win.
No, it's gonna be too complicated.
No, I got it.
We got to do it.
No,
we got to do it normal.
We got to all up here.
No, because if now for subtracting wins, people are gonna look at our schedule and they're gonna be so conflicted as to why it's not adding up right. We should just do.
All right, that's fair.
We should do. I'm with if you go 0-4 after 2 weeks. So week 1 you go 0-2. Week 2 you go 0-2.
Yeah.
Like then you can get suspended. I'm down with moving it a week up, so you can't go 0-2 for 2 straight weeks, because then you get suspended a week.
That's fine.
But we also got to keep in consideration that every time I was picking and losing, people were still making money off my fading picks. People were fading me on purpose, so they don't want me to be missing a week where they could be potentially making money.
No, I get that, but also
it's not going to happen. Number one,
let us pray.
Let us pray.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen this year.
That was bad last year. That was really bad.
I got screwed over.
Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
All right, but a few housekeeping things here. We got to give it up because NBA, inside the NBA is returning for next year.
They are returning.
They are not getting kicked off. That's big for the program.
That's the only thing that's big for the NBA.
Saving the NBA.
Literally. I mean, the playoffs are great right now. Like, they are sucking a lot of people in, and it's been great basketball, which I haven't seen for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's fun. It's fun to watch it now. Yeah. Obviously, that's with any sport in the playoffs, but this playoff series has been dank. It's been fun.
Yeah. I mean, so Oklahoma City won last night.
Yeah,
they're in the finals.
Yep.
And the Knicks are basically 1 game away from
being
they're tonight away from being knocked out.
Yep.
And we're going to have the Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder playing in the finals most likely. I'm excited for that. I'm excited. And inside the NBA being back is fantastic. They'll be on ESPN now. It's awesome. I'm just glad I don't have to listen to Paul Pierce anymore.
Yeah. What do the Thunder have to do to not lose? Because what I witnessed last night was just pure dominance and defense, stingy defense. Like they should be like a minus 500 favorite going into the finals against. Doesn't even matter who they go against. The Knicks, the Pacers. I like whoever comes out the East. I want to win. I'm a big Halliburton fan. Obviously the Knicks. So based off our conversation last week, but what do they have to do to not lose? Because they look like they should sweep whoever comes out the East.
Yeah, I mean the Pacers. I told you this before the series started. I was like, I think the Knicks take it to like 6 or 7, but they ultimately are going to lose. Mm-hmm. I think the Pacers shoot the ball too well. They play too hard at home. They are almost unstoppable with that crowd in Indiana. Now the Oklahoma City Thunder. Here's my thing with them. All right, they have the blueprint down to a T. When you look at the last couple champions, it is to a T. You know, you have your star. All right, they got Shea. Yeah, Jason Tatum. Then you have a guy named Jalen. Both teams. It's very simple. You just got to get the number 2 guys named Jalen. All right, then you have a very good defensive talent. You got Lou Dort, and then you got Drew Holiday on the other side. Then you just got to get a big, skinny, white dude. Chet Porzingis. After that, I think you're kind of solid. Am I wrong?
No.
Actually, I forgot one guy. I almost forgot this one. This is the best one. You just have to have Derek White. They got Caruso.
Yeah,
same person.
All right? I was waiting for that.
Like, it's very simple, the blueprint, and I think Oklahoma City, the way they play an entire game, right? Because the Pacers are kind of they go for runs. They'll score 10 on you real fast, but you see the Knicks always coming back. They're coming back. They just couldn't get over that 5-point threshold 2 nights ago. But Oklahoma City, they just stick with you the whole way. And I know this series has been kind of weird because 2 of the games they were up by, it was like 30 or 40 points. And then you had Minnesota was up by like 50 the other night. So it's been a weird series. But I think when you take the whole thing as a whole, the whole playoffs as a whole, I think Oklahoma City, the way they play, the way they can stick with anyone, the way they shoot the ball, they have the MVP for a reason. I think they have the best all-around team that's left. I think they take it in 5.
Yeah. For me, Because let's just assume, because again, this would be game 5 that's on tonight. Let's just assume that the Pacers win and they move on.
Yeah.
I think a big factor in who's going to, win certain games, game 2, game 4, game 6, if need be, I think home field advantage. When I look at the Pacers, they're a very deep team. They're a very fundamentally sound team. They're a different type of basketball when you watch them. You have Tyrese Halliburton, who's your all around the epitome of a true point guard.
Yeah.
Can shoot, can pass, can just facilitate the offense. And then you got Pascal Siakam, solid power forward. You got to focus on him or Halliburton. You have Nembhard. You have these guys, who are solid shooting guards, can defend a little bit. Miles Turner can do, be in the paint, post up, shoot threes. I think when they're feeling good, I don't believe that they will have a bad game.
Yeah.
I do think they will keep it close with the Thunder because they've been in every single game. They've been playing, with a purpose.
Yeah.
It's not like they're slacking off any game. The Knicks have blown them out and they're like, oh, we're just going to wait for tomorrow. Like they are in every single game, and you can tell by the way they played throughout the whole series. And that's my thing with the Pacers. They're a very deep team, but so are the Thunder. My thing is with the Thunder, they should be favorites, no doubt. They look very similar to the Pacers, but just younger and better. And
isn't it weird how the NBA, the way they broadcasted their games this year, there were very few games that we saw Minnesota, very few that we saw the Pacers, very few that we saw Oklahoma City, right? Yeah, they got on to national broadcast in prime time every now and then, but
yeah, because
the
Lakers
were
exist.
That's
on.
That's
why.
Like
Boston exists.
Boston and the Sixers,
the Cavaliers,
were on
the Sixers. They're just trying to get everyone to watch as much as possible by putting LeBron James, the GOAT, on as much primetime.
The Warriors,
TV. The Warriors, you're looking at a team or
the Dallas Mavericks were on more than them.
Yeah, like you're looking at a finals right now where OKC, everyone kind of knew where they were heading towards. They were going to be a good team. Did everyone think that they were going to be in the finals? Probably yes and no. I still think the Nuggets and the Lakers still had a lot of fandom over, who was going to win the West.
Yeah.
And then the Pacers were underdogs. I mean, they were a good team and they were a solid team, but you never thought that they were going to make it all the way this far. Knicks the same way. It was either going to be Boston or the Cavaliers. And this is the great underdog story. This is why I love, you got the Empire, the evil Empire in OKC right now, which is going to be on that path of becoming the evil Empire. They're going to be, number 1, number 2, number 3 seed every single year. And then you have the Pacers who, they really weren't getting that much publicity, that much hype, and they shut up a lot of doubters, especially Halliburton. So my belief is when it is in Indiana, I think that's where Indiana will flourish. When I think it's at OKC, I think OKC will flourish. That I think it's very, very, very standard. I mean, if you have home field advantage, you should not lose. Yeah. If one of these teams takes a game on the road, I mean, it's massive for the program. But I like the matchups. I like the matchups for the Pacers. But I think all it's going to come down to is can you stop the big the big stars on the team? Mm-hmm. For Indiana, can you stop SGA? Are you going to foul him a bunch? Are you going to, maybe handle the pick and roll like you should and stop Chet and be physical with Chet? You got to be physical with Chet. Obviously, his frame, he's a skinny dude. You can't let that dude be in the post and just get boards, and you got to box him out. But it's really just going to be an SGA show. You'll have these other guys like Jalen and Lou Dort, Caruso doing their thing. But when I look at Indiana, I feel like they have better scores. Is that a fair assumption?
No, I think they have the
offense.
They have the optically better scores.
Yes, because
it helps that Nembhard is playing out of his mind lately. I actually, side note, BetMGM not only won't let me take NBA player props anymore.
Thanks, Cody.
Or not BetMGM. Bet365. BetMGM's fantastic. Bet365 won't let me take player props, and I can't cash out anything because the last week I just keep hammering Nembhard over on points and rebounds, and it just hits every time. Mm-hmm. And I took like $10K off of them. It has been the best betting week of my life. But Bet365 was not happy.
Is that a hyperbole?
What?
How much you've won?
Well, no, it was like $K.
That's how much money you've won.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Crazy. Just on the Pacers. I just keep taking all their overs.
You haven't sent me anything about this.
I've been coaching. I was literally doing this from the sideline of my games. Like my kids were warming up, and I'm just sitting there like, all right, Nemhard again. Like,
what are you putting down, bro? Should we talk about this off camera?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because what?
I'm not
really.
I can't bet anything in Bet365 over like $7.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, you're kicking ass.
So I don't even use the book anymore. You guys fucking suck. Like, I'm sorry, but don't have the worst lines in the entire world. Like, actually watch the games
better.
maybe.
Be better.
Like, be better. Don't give me free money.
Be better.
I don't know. But yeah, I do agree with you that like players like Nemhard are shooting out of their minds. You got Neesmith playing fantastic. He got unlucky in game 2, I believe it was, where the refs were calling every touch foul. So he ended up getting 3 early, had to sit for a while. But Halliburton looks fantastic. He's driving the ball. He looks real confident. Some are saying that him being on the bench for the entire Olympics is actually propelling him to MVP status. And then Miles Turner, I've always been a huge Miles Turner guy. You know this. I've wanted the Sixers to sign him in free agency forever. And this playoff series and the whole playoff run is really hurting him ever leaving Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
I think this Indiana team, you're going to see a lot of these guys stick around for a while. It's going to be similar to what the Warriors did, where they kept 3 or 4 guys for a number of years and were very successful. I think Indiana is set up for another 3 to 5 years. As long as they draft well, which they have, I think it's been fantastic. And that's one thing with both these teams. Assuming that Indiana can get over the line tonight, New York is favored -4.5, so a little cheat code here. But if you go in the FanDuel, I would take the Pacers at the opposite line at plus like 300, and then just like, I don't know, when they're up by 10 tonight, which is inevitable, just cash it out for like 300. But Thunder and the Pacers have both drafted immaculately. They've done deals immaculately. They've generated picks. They've gotten the correct players. Both GMs have just done the job that so many other teams want their teams to do. You look at teams like the Sixers. You look at teams like the Lakers. You look at teams like even Golden State now. You know, they very good teams every year, very good. But the deals they make, the way they pay the players, the way they draft, it just hasn't been there. And it shows in how, you know, the Warriors knocked out by the Timberwolves. Sixers didn't even make it. I don't know. Lakers, embarrassing. I don't know. I think that the Thunder are going to win it.
Yeah.
And I think they win it in 5.
Last thing here, I was always a Halliburton fan, even when he was with Sacramento. When they had De'Aaron Fox, they had Halliburton, they had Sabonis. I think they had DeMar DeRozan too, if I'm correct, or no?
Wait,
no,
you're talking about who?
The Kings. No, they did not have DeMar
Kings?
DeRozan. Yes.
Yeah, the Kings had DeMar.
When Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox were on the same team? On that team?
No.
Who was it? Was it Harrison Barnes? And there was somebody else that I'm missing. But anyways, seeing that type of player, obviously, De'Aaron Fox was your number 1 guy.
Was Zach LaVine there?
No.
He was there too.
They got traded once they were gone. But watching Halliburton.
Cousins?
Well, yeah,
Boogie?
but there was a 3. There was a number 3 that was like pretty solid. I just can't think of who it was.
I'll find it.
But Tyrese Halliburton on that team, I talked about my buddies and whatnot. Watching him play, I don't know why people think he was overrated. Is it because he has an ugly jump shot? That's what you want in a point guard. You don't want a point guard, listen, not everyone could be a Steph Curry in the league. Not everyone could, just be making 8, 10 threes, 5 threes a game and just dropping 30, 35 points. Like, it's not sustainable. Tyrese not only can score the bucket and have a really good 3-point shot and have great dribbling, but he runs the offense. Everything, the offense runs through him. He's a very good driver, He's great speed, off a cut, going to the basket, kick out. He's not the one to. There was a point in time on the Pacers where he wasn't shooting enough, and he was just, dishing the ball and letting the other people score the buckets for Indiana. But now I think he's found his niche where, when he has a shot, he's going to take it. When there's, 10 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter, you're down by 2, Tyrese Halliburton is going to take it no matter what. He's either going to drive or he's going to put up a crazy shot and it's going to go in. So watching him grow into the role that he is now in, he shut up a lot of people. And the people who were calling him overrated, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what they saw in this guy. Maybe because, you know, he was a little cornball or something. But as a true point guard, what else would you want?
You ready for this one? He is what Sixers fans thought Ben Simmons could be.
Boom. There you go.
He is exactly what everyone thought Ben Simmons could be and never amounted to.
But that's what kind of point guard you want. Am I correct? Would you rather have a point guard who, you know, just shoots threes and is just a straight scorer and doesn't pass the ball? Or do you want someone who, you know, passes the ball, pass first, but also could still get a bucket whenever? Like, it's hard to guard. It's hard to defend because you're so keyed in on Tyrese Halliburton that, look at game 2. You forget that a guy like Pascal Siakam exists and he puts up 30-plus points.
Yeah.
Like, they just completely flipped the script on the Knicks and they didn't know how to handle it. So, shout out to the Pacers. I'm happy for them. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And, like, I actually think this series could go 7. Hypothetically speaking. I don't think it's going to be a 3-1 lead OKC, 3-1 lead Indiana. I think this is going to actually be the series that goes 7 because I don't think we've seen any Game 7s this playoff, right? No, there was Game 6, and that was it. I don't think
OKC versus the Nuggets.
That was Game 7.
And the Nuggets versus the Clippers.
Yes.
And the Rockets versus the Warriors.
Okay, shit. Then we had 3 of them. On me. Hand up. But, yeah, no, I think this I don't think there's a sweep. I don't think there's a 4-1. I think each team is going to definitely have a minimum of 2 wins, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's get into the NFL here.
Sure.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with week 1? You want to look at week 1 for a bit?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go through
All
week
right.
1, and I don't want to, hint at anything, but we'll just say what we like, and then obviously the lines are going to change from now until mid-August.
Absolutely.
So we got time.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many good games we actually have week 1. So we got the Cowboys and the Eagles. We got the Chiefs and Chargers. We got the Giants and the Commies.
Yeah, it's all
Panthers,
divisional
Jags, Steelers, Jets.
Except that.
Well, yeah, I know. This is going to be like the games. Oh, how many times did we get to Game 7? And I'm going to read these off. You're like, it's all divisional.
Yeah.
And then we got the Raiders, Patriots. We got the Cardinals, Saints.
The Raiders, Patriots. Oh,
Dolphins,
God.
Colts. We got Browns and Bengals is a good one. We got the Bucks and the Falcons. That'll be a good one. I like that one in week 1. Yeah, dude, these are not all divisional.
Yeah,
But
most of them were based
Lions
off how
and the
you approached
Packers.
it, but nope. Lions and
Packers
Packers.
going to be a good one. I like the Houston Rams. Baltimore and the Bills week 1.
Nice.
That's almost assault on them. Then we got Minnesota, Chicago. So, I mean, I'll just read off some lines as we go through. I'll just pick out the good games on paper, what they should be good.
Whatever you want to talk about.
So the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles, I mean, that line is set at -6.5 right now.
Of course.
Over 46.5. It's in Philly. It's on banner night, and Dak Prescott is playing. So I'm sorry to all the Philly fans out there. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to destroy you guys, even though they probably will because Dak is playing. But 6.5 is far too many points. Far too many points. Our defense is going to be better. We got Shoddy in the room. There's no way we don't lose this game. All right, let me rephrase that. There's no way we lose this game by more than 2 field goals. There's no way.
I actually agree with you.
Our offense,
in a way.
like people are over. They're underrating what our offense just did this offseason. Like George Pickens is a very, very, very good wide receiver, and now we're gonna pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. Like, dude, I'm sorry, but
Tyler Booker.
and Tyler Booker. I didn't even get to him yet, so thank you for pointing him out.
It's huge.
But Dak Prescott finally has 2 weapons. I could not tell you the last time he had 2 legitimate weapons. Like,
Never.
All right, we had CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. Whoop-de-fucking-do. It's like that's been his best wide receiver pair in recent history. I mean, you could say Brandon Cooks, but Brandon Cooks was rarely on the field with CD. It was kind of a weird combo because Brandon Cooks really – all right, he had his moments, was a great red zone player.
You know what he brought to the table.
But it wasn't
his ceiling.
taking anything away from who was marking CD. So I think this year you're going to see a different type of Cowboys offense. I think the running back room, for as much as Eagles fans want you to believe that it's very weak, I think it's very strong. We have 4 backs that I think Blue is going to be fantastic. I think he doesn't have to play a lot this year. He can grow into the game. Maybe by the end of the season he's getting most of the snaps. But I mean, you brought Williams in. You got Miles Sanders. I think that's a good. Their experience, they can give you what you need. They can teach Blue how to play football, which is perfect. But yeah, like
They can teach him how to, play football, which he's been, preparing for his whole life.
Yeah, but, that came out wrong. But I think Dallas Cowboys plus 6.5 is the lock of the week. And the fact that it's minus 102 on FanDuel right now, hammer that.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I know we talked about this last year when it came to mortals. Can we pick the same mortal?
No,
we can't.
No,
we cannot.
Because remember, whoever does better the week before. So like I'm gonna have first pick in week 1 because I won last year. Because I won champion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a better record than me in week 1, you'd pick week 2.
Heard.
Yeah.
I got 2 things here. Number 1, I actually agree with you. I think Dallas. The line is probably the worst number you could put on because if it was plus 7, I'm hammering Dallas. 6.5 is not a good line. I hate it. If you could move it, I would. Obviously, nobody that is listening to this podcast will take the Cowboys, maybe besides McIntyre and whoever else, and yourself and myself. But I think it's a good line, and I think it's a good line to bet the Cowboys, and this is why. Every time the 2 Super Bowl teams play, so you had the Chiefs and then you had the Birds. There's always some type of, rough start, I guess, in a way, to the prior Super Bowl appearance that they had. It is in Philadelphia, which obviously is a tough place to play in. But I agree with you. I like where Dallas is headed. My only thing that is, I know you said the defense is better, but like how much better is it going to be is my only thing. I know the secondary still has a lot of work to do. But, when you have a guy like Micah Parsons on the field and the O-line is getting a little bit older. I know we've had this conversation about the O-line and they've shut everybody up because they literally have just won the Super Bowl.
For the Eagles.
Yeah, they lost Mekhi Becton. Lane Johnson's getting up there in age. Mailata's going to be Mailata. Cam Jurgens new. So a lot of moving pieces, but they still have a really great foundation. But it's not an unstoppable offense. Like every offense in this league, you can stop. Last year they were unstoppable because they all were just in absolute prime form. You got AJ Brown, you got Saquon. Like you have to. I know it sounds like I'm a Jalen hater, but it's not. But like you have, in your opinion, as just a football fan in general, and a Dallas Cowboys fan, me being a Jets fan. What is the key to stopping the Eagles' offense? What do you have to do first? What is the number 1 priority? What is it?
You gotta stop Saquon.
You gotta stop Saquon Barkley.
But I think that we are starting to fix that. I like our signings from this offseason. And defensively, we're not going to have Overshown, but it sounds like he's going to be back in early September, which is fantastic for us. So he's returning from that knee injury. But yeah, I like where. Listen, again, I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to win this game. I'm just saying they're going to cover the 6.5.
For betting purposes.
We have Brandon Aubrey, for heaven's sake.
True. Very true.
But another key part of this, we can talk about the defense all day and how are we going to stop this
not saying
Eagles
they can't
offense.
Though. I'm not
I
saying
don't
they can't.
think the passing game is going to be the struggle for this Cowboys team.
You think the
I
secondary
think it's going to be how do we stop the run? That was one of our biggest issues last year. When you look at the games where we got blown out in, when we lost a close one, it was because the run game dominated us. So I think it would be silly of us not to go into this offseason being like, all right, we got to fix that. And they've already spoken about it a few times in interviews. And, Eberflus had a very tough time in Chicago. I think he has something to prove, which I kind of like. I like that. He's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. He's got to go prove it. He has a very good defensive room around him. He's got a lot of support from the front office, from Shoddy. So he's in a good situation. But the massivest thing, that's not even a word probably.
All right, it's a big point.
But that we have to look at here is that Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts have only faced off 3 times. 3 times since they've both been in the league. Think about that. That's not a lot of times.
There's a lot of Cooper Rush in there.
But, and the other side, Jalen Hurts has been injured too. Let's not act like Big Daddy Dak is out here getting injured.
Hey, I wasn't being hostile or anything.
But Dak Prescott, like I said, has an offense around him now. If he was able to own and dominate Jalen Hurts without anybody helping him, we had Zeke on 0 legs. We had CeeDee by himself getting double covered out in Guantanamo Bay last year. Like, Dak Prescott is back, everybody. He's healthy. He's got 2 kids, double the dad strength. That's a big part of it. Jalen Hurts, how much dad strength does he have? Zero. How's he going to combat this? We're 2-1. We have way more better stats than him. I think that this could be an embarrassment for the Eagles. Again, not saying that Dallas is going to win, but I think on banner night, Eagles fans are going to be rowdy. They're going to be drunk. They're going to be pissing all over each other out in the parking lot like they always do.
I want to take
the porta pies are going to be disgusting, overflowing with piss, and they're just ridiculous. They're disgusting. You're all disgusting. And Dak Prescott's going to go in there with his cowboy hat, and he's going to fucking dominate. We're going to win this game by 14.
I will say this. I am
Again,
a Dak,
I'm not saying we're going to win.
a Dak fan, you know where I stand with Dak. You know, during the regular season, man, I'll take him. I will take him over a lot of other quarterbacks. During the playoff time, I'm like, all right, Dak, now's the time. We haven't seen it. You know, we had that one year where they smoked the Bucs and then they got smoked by the Packers. That's because I don't think Dak deserves the most hate. When it comes to the playoffs, yes, but you know, Lamar's going through the same thing. Josh Allen's going through the same thing. They get zero hate.
I would beg to differ.
What do you mean?
I think Lamar deserves some hate.
That's what I'm saying.
Josh Allen and Dak are more similar than Dak and Josh Allen are to Lamar Jackson because one key difference. Lamar Jackson's front office actually helps him. They got him the best running back in the league. They get him weapons outside. They gave him a great defense. Dak Prescott, he hasn't had 2 of those 3 ever.
That's on me.
The Buffalo Bills haven't had 2 of those 3 ever.
No, I should
Lamar
not throw
Jackson,
Josh in there. Yes,
of all people,
agreed,
should get the most.
And you know me, I love the Ravens. I always love the Ravens. But
same here.
There is a point where when you have a team like that, granted, okay, Mark Andrews dropped that pass in the end zone. Yeah, so be it. But you know what? There's a lot of other things that happen throughout the game that shouldn't let up to you being down at that point. Yeah. But yeah, Josh Allen, you know, they didn't really help him out. Dude's a stud. He's elite, MVP, whatever. You know, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I really do think Dak is a good quarterback. And like, you know, exactly what you said, he's probably gotten less help than Josh Allen. Just having CeeDee Lamb there, and that's it. That was all the offense. Jake Ferguson, you know, solid guy. But real quick, I have a question here. How do you think this running back room is going to look like? What do you think that they are envisioning using? Is it going to be Miles off the bat? Is it going to be Javonte Williams? Because for me, I think it's going to be Javonte Williams right away. And then like kind of 1A, 1B, Javonte and Miles Sanders. Jaden Blue will get work throughout you know, the later end of the year.
I think, and here's why I think we upgraded. Because when you look at our running back department from the last couple years, it's been 1A, 1B, and then C
James Pace catcher,
but he hasn't been good ever.
Yeah,
right. I think this year it's a little different because all right, you have Javonte, you have Miles Sanders. They're clearly 1A, 1B right now, and I think they are capable of giving you what you need. But now you look at C, which is Blue. I think he's a huge upgrade, and he could work his way into that and become 1A or 1B by the end of the season. So I think that the
tough
running
for grabs.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I think that what we did in the running back department early on, very skeptical, not going to lie. I mean, we're looking at Miles Sanders, who's on his 3rd team and, you know, was not great for Carolina. So I was a little skeptical there, especially with Williams coming off the injury as well. It was weird. You know, when they first came in, it was just a weird situation. But now looking at it, I think it was the right decision. I mean,
it's a typical Jerry Jones move, you know. Go for a guy who's either had injury, you know, it's not going to be a lot of money. Dude, they're probably paying
cheap.
Thank you. They're probably paying Javonte and Miles maybe $5 million combined. So that's what Jerry does besides, you know, actually taking a swing and going for a guy like George Pickens.
But that's what I was just about to say. You know, if he doesn't do that, we don't.
He doesn't
get
do that
George
a lot.
Pickens.
But I think he does it, you know, when it's necessary, and he hasn't the last couple of years. You know, he goes for a guy like Brandon Cooks again, a Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams-esque signing. But you know, now you're running out of time, and you had to make a move, and he did. And you know what, Shoddy, say what you want about him. I think he's going to throw everything at the Birds. I don't think he's going to be scared. I think he's going to throw everything in his playbook at the Birds to prove a point week 1.
Shoddy season.
Truly,
Shoddy season.
I
Let's go.
don't see him going. Run first play, run second play, pass third play, 3 and out. No, I think he's going to do some crazy shit. I think
If he comes out with that Kellen Moore bullshit, I will lose
it's
my
over.
fucking
The
mind.
game is over.
I'll lose my mind.
I don't think no. I think he's going to be very creative. I think he's going to pass their first possession. I think they're going to be they're going to establish the run, but they're going to throw some trickery in there. I don't think Shoddy is taking this game lightly.
Dude, ready? Here's what the first play is going to be. It's going to be 4 slants, George Pickens on one side, CD, on the other, and it's going to be run as fast as you can, boys. And it's they're going to have Turpin right there in the slot, and he's just going to take off, and it's going to be Dak, take your pick.
It's weird to say, like, I feel like where the Cowboys are going this year, like, there's that one team you're very excited to watch. Like, it was the Bears for me last year. I was really excited to see how the Bears played.
Fucking weird.
Like, they
continue.
They drafted
It just
Caleb
is.
and
It's
all
weird.
that. Of course, it's weird. Yeah, I mean, who thinks the Bears are fun to watch? But seeing like where the Cowboys are, listen, they have a little bit of change, but they got a lot. They got a lot going now. How is George Pickens going to end up in Dallas? How is he going to react? When he's not getting the ball. How is this going to determine how much CD is getting targets and how much Pickens is getting targets? How is Dak going to look after his injury? So it's an exciting team to watch because it's a team we don't really know where they're going to be headed. They're either going to go down the shitter or they're going to go up towards a potential division winner. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah. I agree. All right, let's move on here. Since we touched on the Ravens and the Bills, I want to get into that one. It's going to be a very good game, Sunday Night Football, to kick off the year. The line's at 1.5, which to me, it's basically even with these teams. I don't see this game being a 1-point game unless some crazy shit happens where Mark Andrews doesn't catch one on the goal line. This one's weird. It's up there at Candlestick. It's going to be in Buffalo. It's not going to be cold. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to take Buffalo here.
Yeah?
I'm going to take Buffalo. I think I've, the last couple years I've said the Super Bowl window has closed, which it still has, but they're still a really good team. And I still think the Ravens are a really good team too. I really like what Buffalo did in the offseason. Mm-hmm. They brought in a lot of good young players, especially on the defensive side. Going to help out Josh Allen a bunch. Keon Coleman's going to be in his second year. Khalil Shakir is going to be in his, I think, third or fourth year, starting to become that solid rock for Josh Allen. Yep. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. James Cook, we're going to talk about this. They're going to pay him. Their culture, their foundation, it's just steady. It's solid. There's no turmoil that's going to happen. Obviously, they're going to keep making the playoffs, and they're going to keep playing either Cincinnati, Baltimore, or Kansas City, and they're either going to lose or they're going to win. Yep. They need to make the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the expectation. That is the expectation. And then, it's a good expectation to have because they're going to be in the playoffs every single year. On the Ravens side, I truly think Mark Andrews is going to have a stellar year. I think he's going to be a top 5 tight end. I think he's going to be back to his original form, especially after last year, down year. But they don't have any excuses either. I mean, it's week 1. Anything can happen. If you lose it, so be it. You got 17 to 16 other games after that. That's where you get the ball rolling, And I like what they did too. They kept everybody on offense. They're bringing more people in on defense. It's just you got to get over that hump, and they just haven't been able to. And I don't think it's a Lamar thing. Yes, Lamar has struggled in playoff games. I don't think the moment is too, quote unquote, big for him.
Yeah.
I just think he's had, when Jalen Hurts fumbled in the Super Bowl, he has those one play moments that's completely turns the game around. So I still think both of those teams are going to be really good. For the AFC North, if we're talking again, I'm high on the Bengals. I think they make a run for their money. In the AFC East, what the hell do the Bills have to worry about? The Patriots? Like, they got it. They're
Jets.
solidified.
The Jets.
Oh, come on now. Stop it.
I'll start that conversation. The Jets. In this game, I am going to take Baltimore.
You're going to take Baltimore?
I think that it's too good of a team, and the way that their season ended last year, I think it just is. It's one of those things where if they don't come out and make a statement in the first couple weeks, I don't see it happening for them again. I think it's just going to be another year of the Ravens, very good season, pushing for the 1 seed, 2 seed, but ultimately they're not going to get to the Super Bowl. I think Lamar Jackson is top 3 quarterback in the league. I know I just was saying how he deserves more hate, but I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. When you look at how he plays, his arm's gotten so much better over the last couple of years. Now he has Derrick Henry back there on a new contract. Bunch of guys coming into their second, third year in the league offensively. That defense is always good. Baltimore doesn't have many excuses.
They don't.
They really don't. They really don't. They're
it's-
one of the few teams in the league that, doesn't get over the hump. Really, they haven't since Joe Flacco, which is a long time ago. That doesn't really get as much hate. Like the Cowboys and San Francisco. Honestly, San Francisco doesn't really get much hate, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl
Since the
since
80s.
before, the Cowboys. But Baltimore is kind of like the Cowboys. They just don't get over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they win playoff games. Yeah, you're going to win playoff games when you're going up against the Steelers when they have Kenny Pickett at quarterback. Like, I'm sorry, but we get it. That's going to happen. But they just don't get over the hump. And I think this year, if it doesn't happen for them, I don't know if it's going to happen in the Lamar Jackson era.
It has to. And this is my thing, because when you look at the Chiefs now, let's transition over a bit.
Sure.
When you look at a team like the Chiefs, are they getting better? Are they getting better, or is it just, you have Mahomes and Andy Reid and they're godlike?
But that's the thing. Like the
It's-
Chiefs, what have the Chiefs?
I think they're
Since
not getting better,
But
and that's my
dude,
thing.
Since the first Super Bowl they won, have they legitimately gotten better year to year to year?
Maybe
or have they just stayed the same?
When they got rid of Reek, maybe they did get better because he wasn't there anymore. They had Travis Kelce going crazy, Pacheco, they were a solid offense. But now it's like you've seen this so many times, and
It's the Patriots,
It's
dude.
not like they're unstoppable, man. Listen, Mahomes is GOAT status. Listen, he's a great elite quarterback. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, it's not like your players are not better than theirs. If you're talking about the Ravens, I'm taking the Ravens players and personnel over the Chiefs any day.
Yeah.
Any day. Buffalo, maybe. I mean, I might have more people on the defensive side for the Chiefs than the offensive side for the Chiefs, but it's not like they're a beatable team, and that is the one obstacle that both of these teams just can't get over.
Yeah.
And you have to be, if you want to be great, you want to win a Super Bowl, that is your number one. That's Super Bowl A, is getting through the Kansas City Chiefs. After that, you could win any game. You could beat any team in the NFC. But again, that just goes to show the dominance of the Chiefs. But what I saw last year, what we saw when I was sitting over here and you were sitting here and we were watching this game, that Eagles team was either the best team I've ever seen on paper and that the NFL has ever seen to exist, or the Chiefs are just not that good anymore.
No, let's not go there. Let's not go there.
They still are
because
good, but they're not as good.
And I think when you really go back and analyze that game, it was a lot closer than it was on the scoreboard.
Dominance. It was dominance.
Mike.
They got dominated.
No,
bro.
hear me out.
Go ahead.
Hear me out. Because there was multiple third down situations where the Chiefs stopped them, but then had a personal foul. Extend the ball 15 yards, and the Eagles go and score. It was stupid, silly errors that we're not used to seeing from Chiefs players in that scenario in the Super Bowl. And, usually it's the other team that doesn't have the luck. This year it was the Eagles that had the luck, and look what happened. They blew them out. And then the Chiefs had to chase the game. I'm a Cowboys fan. I watch this basically week in, week out. You're chasing the game. You got to throw the ball. It ends up being quick possessions. The other team gets the ball. They scored. Then you have to do the same thing over and over again. And it ends up looking like a blowout when in reality, it really was closer than the game was.
I'm the other way around.
Yeah, I know that because you're a Jets fan. And every game is a blowout for you. So everything looks like dominance.
All right. You don't have to come
But
up with
I
Jets.
think that the Chiefs are still, Aaron, you better support me here because I'm actually on your side for once in your life, even though you're supposed to build Syracuse football and you can't even build a fantasy team. But Kansas City will be back this year. They have the Los Angeles Chargers in LA, -2.5, week 1. I think Kansas City comes out and sets the tone early. I think they win this game by 10+. I love an alternate spread of at least 7.
I'm not saying they're bad like that. I'm not saying that. It might have come out that way.
Well, you did. You
But
pulled
I
at me. You pulled at me.
Hold on. They are still an elite team, but I just don't think they're as elite as they were.
Sure.
Yes, after what we saw in the Super Bowl back in February, they are destined for a comeback and a better year. Yeah, I think so. But I just think, where Buffalo and where Cincinnati and where the Ravens are headed, they need to watch out. Like, it's not an easy game anymore. I mean, Buffalo gave him a run for their money, and they almost beat him. Yeah. But there was a fucking stupid, what call was it? They tush push, Josh Allen didn't get the first down. Yeah. So the Ravens, week 1 against Kansas City, if Isaiah Likely didn't have a size 18 foot, probably would have been game. Yeah. Like, it's not like the Chiefs won a lot of close games last year. Yeah. The Carolina Panthers, our team, almost beat them in overtime. Yes. They got, I'm not going to say they got lucky, but they won games when they should have.
Well, let's back it up here. If we're going to talk about Carolina.
We want to talk Carolina?
Carolina should have beat the Birds. Carolina should have beat Kansas City. Carolina was an elite team last year that basically had the opposite year of Kansas City. Kansas City won every single close game. Carolina could not win a close game for their lives. And I think this year Carolina is going to win those games, and we can get into that in a bit.
I want to ask you. Let's transition now, all right? So we talked about the Chiefs. We can go down the rabbit hole with them. Let's not do it. Let's move to the NFC South, because we've talked about why Carolina is, can be a good team. What do they need to do? What do you see in Carolina that it makes you so sold? Besides Bryce Young, you could talk about Bryce Young, but where do you see Carolina being this year? Do you see them as a playoff team? Do you see them as an in-the-hunt team? And why?
So I see them as – this is going to sound crazy. I see them as a playoff team. I see them winning the division. I think that the team last year was very young. You had Adam Thielen as the old head kind of carrying the team around. There was the Bryce Young drama where he was in the team, then out of the team, then he came back in and was elite. I could see Bryce Young being a Pro Bowler this year. I could see, when you look at what they added, you still have Chuba. Fantastic year last year. Had one of my fantasy teams. Great guy. Great stuff. Then you added Tet. You still have Adam Thielen. You got Xavier. Like, you have the pieces offensively for Bryce Young to go out there and be successful offensively. I think now it's kind of turned this team where it's no longer the offense that you're worrying about. It's more the defensive side. Can that defense keep teams off the board or at least hold them to 17 or less points? Because honestly, in the NFL, if your defense is able to keep you from 17 or less points, the offense just has to do their job. I mean, we're talking 3 possessions, which I think Bryce Young has in his back pocket. So I see this team. I mean, we can look at their schedule here. Their over-under was set at 6.5 on Fanduel, which I actually love because my prediction is for them to win the division. So I love that line. Give me it. I might take an alternate line of 10.5. But I mean, like, they start on the road for 2 games. 2 straight games on the road to start the season, which I think the NFL is doing on purpose because they're scared of Carolina being back. They're at Jacksonville week 1. I think that is the easiest dub of all time. Travis Hunter is going to shit the bed against Tet. Bryce Young's going to walk all over them. Jacksonville is going to be in the dirt with their whole Duval coach bullshit. Then they go at Arizona, which Kyler Murray is not going to be able to see over that D-line. I'm sorry. That D-line's huge. And then Bryce Young just has to go out there, do his thing. It's an indoor stadium. We all know what Bryce Young does in indoor stadiums. He wins SEC championships. He wins national championships. So Bryce Young going to an indoor stadium, fear for the Cardinals, fear for the Birds. Then he plays another Bird, Atlanta. Now, this is where the season gets spicy. If they're 2-0 when they get to that game, at home, what?
Dub.
Yeah, we're eating dubs. You're goddamn right, Mike. Atlanta Falcons
3-0 right off the
3-0 right off the bat because now we're 2-0. There's going to be a little spark in the air. That stadium's going to be rowdy. They're all going to rally around that offense and Bryce Young being finally the chosen one that they all thought they were getting. They're going to come out there in Atlanta. I mean, listen, a lefty quarterback never works in the NFL. Look at down south in Miami. Doesn't work. All it does is smash heads. Then they go at New England, which I think this is a spot where we could see the first L of the season in week 4 because I kind of like what Mike Vrabel's doing up there. But the flip side is, will Stephon Diggs make it to the season? I don't know. There's already boat videos coming out again. We all know what happens on boats. Look at Odell Beckham. Once you get caught on a boat with a bunch of women and drugs and all of that, his season goes downhill immediately. So that might be a win as well, 4-0. Then we're looking at Miami.
Oh, dub.
Miami at home.
They're in shambles.
Shambles.
Have you seen
Carolina?
Mike McDaniel, whatever?
Yeah.
Shambles.
Jalen
Ramsey.
He looks like he's not eating. I need to call Mike McDaniel. If you need help, please, I'll come down there and cook for you for free. Invite me to the house. I'll vape with you. So
that's all. You just have to vape with him. That's
so 5-0. Now, definitely a loss here. at home against Dallas. I think this is where, smashing heads, I have to side with my team. 5-1. All right. Now, from there on out, this over's hitting because we have 5 wins on the board, and we don't have to talk about the next couple games because it's Buffalo, Green Bay. We don't have to talk about that. That's probably going to be losses, unfortunately.
I'll give the win when they're playing Green Bay.
It's at Green Bay.
Yeah, I'll give them the win.
Okay, I like that. So 6-2, and then we got New Orleans win.
Dumb.
I love what Aaron Rodgers came out and said this week. He was just like, he had asked why he didn't want to go, like why he's not talking to the Saints. Like, I just do not want to live in Louisiana.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Sure.
I actually agree with Aaron Rodgers for once.
At this point in his career, like, just choose wherever you want to live, and if the options aren't there, I mean, just
I can't believe
stay
he's
home.
still a point of conversation. It doesn't make sense.
All right.
Like, just fucking leave.
We'll
and
come back to
retire.
this in a second. We got Joy Taylor might be the most stupid person in the world. She went on like a 3-minute tangent rant about how Aaron Rodgers is a bad person because he didn't show up to the Steelers OTAs and he's not trying to meet the facility people and learn the streets of Pittsburgh and meet everybody and get to know everybody. Joy, look me in the eyes here. 1, figure out your own scandal, and 2, he's not even on
Where's
the
his
Steelers.
contract?
Are you like, that's just stupid. That's plain stupid. Like, what an idiot. I'm surprised Paul Pierce didn't like say something because he's known to say stuff.
Yeah.
Back to this. All right. At Atlanta, L. At San Francisco, L. Versus Los Angeles, dub. Bye week, dub coming out of it against New Orleans. We're going to split with Tampa, beat Seattle in week 17, win the division.
Wow.
Yep.
It's every year, there's always the one division we just can't leave.
It's always
and
this division.
NFC South. Like, I feel like the first couple of years it was an AFC South. We were jagging off the Jags. We were all over the Jags, and the Colts, and then the Texans started getting hot. Like the NFC South for some reason is just super intriguing. You got Michael Penix and the Falcons. They could be a team, get a lot of wins. How is Michael Penix going to look? Is Bijan going to be, one of the best running backs in the league? Possibly. Mm-hmm. Drake London, who is ascended to really good wide receiver level. Like, his first year was solid. His second year he was balling out there. So Drake London could be a top, 10 receiver in the league. Kyle Pitts, we don't talk about him, but that you're bringing Raheem Morris, you're bringing a bunch of guys on defense, Mike Green, James Pierce Jr., they're making moves. The Tampa Bay Bucks, Bucky Irvin, Baker, like, they just longevity with that team, familiarity with that team. There's so much going on in that division where it is probably the one division that is continuously up for grabs. Yeah. You don't know who's going to win. And that's what's fun about the league is there's always someone different that is coming in and winning. It's those 3 teams, and, Carolina actually can win it. I'm with you. And it's the Bucks can win it, and Atlanta can win it. The Saints will not win it. I would be shocked. They're probably plus 10,000
Saints
to
will
win
not
it.
win it. Saints
Unless Tyler Shock just absolutely dominates. But yeah, it's just a fun division. I got nothing on it. We've talked about it so many times, but it's great.
I think the main focus this year for that division is, like, we know what Tampa Bay is going to be. We know what Atlanta's going to be, but can Carolina get over that hump? And, most times when we talk about the hump, we're talking about a Super Bowl or the NFC Championship with Dallas. Like, we're just talking about winning the division.
Hump. I think it's the quarterbacks, though. It's not even because there's so much uncertainty because Bryce Young, we've seen it.
Like, follow, subscribe, like, follow, subscribe, like, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
Do you have more confidence that Bryce Young can get his team to win the division than any of the other quarterbacks? Because I know Baker's in there, but do you trust him enough with that team and that coaching staff now to go win the division?
No, I'm still on Baker and the Bucks. I think it's Baker and the Bucks, but no, I'm still very sold on that. But Baker does do a lot for that team. He's throwing the ball a lot. He's throwing picks. He's just a gunslinger at the end of the day. But when you have a guy like Bucky Irving in your backfield and you got Rashad White in your backfield still, like, they're a tough team to stop. Like, Baker really has to play like shit to, not win the division. How much? Did I say $30 or $130?
$130. It's not an Aaron Rodgers jersey.
I might have to get you that for Christmas next year.
Dude, I might get it right now.
Yeah, you might get it right now. Do it. Why not?
I'm all in on him.
Michael Penix is a really interesting case because he was drafted last year. He sat behind Kirk. We said this too, and Gassy, shout out to Gassy because he predicted this as well. Michael Penix is not going to be sitting for 3 years while Kirk is under contract. He sat for 1 year under Kirk. Not even. He played the last 3-4 games, and now he's a starter. Hey, he got drafted to do this. They drafted him at pick 8 or pick 7 2 years ago for a reason.
Yep.
Now we're going to see how he looks. It's going to be a similar type of offense. He's a similar type of quarterback to Kirk, but I don't know. I mean, I just feel like they were very inconsistent last year, and I think that was going to kind of transition over.
Yeah.
But maybe they change up their offense a bit. But I still like the Bucs, but I think the Panthers are intriguing. Jalen Coker is a name you haven't mentioned either.
Yep.
Solid guy who you saw a lot of potential in. You're going to have Thielen still there. Thielen's still going to be there and still going to be playing. He's probably going to be your wide receiver 2. I think Leggett takes a step back into that wide receiver 3 role. And I think Tet will be your number 1. I think having a guy it has to be. Having a guy like Tet, Bryce Young, I think they're going to have a really good connection. I like where the defense is headed. J.C. Horn got hurt last year, which killed their secondary. But
he'll be back.
He'll be back. Yeah, they'll be fun. They'll be a fun team.
I'm excited for it. I'm almost as excited to watch Dallas Cowboys as I am to watch the Panthers. That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's look at some of these over-under lines. Jess, I have a few others. I know you hate this team, but the Cardinals, they have it at 8.5. Under 100%, right? Yeah. Like there's no.
They suck.
I just don't see it happening. Marvin Harrison put on like a 300 pounds in muscle, but that's not going to help Kyler Murray throw the ball downfield.
They'll never win the division.
No, they have the midget version of Lamar Jackson at quarterback. I'm sorry, that's not going to get it done.
He's not good. No. He's not a good quarterback.
But now here's 2 that I think are very interesting. Very interesting that we've kind of touched on both teams, really on one team. They have Kansas City's line at 11.5 and San Fran's at 10.5. And from what we just were talking about, I find it tough to believe Kansas City can get to 12 wins, especially with their division getting tougher. And then you look at San Francisco where they basically demolished their team and then paid Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, a lot.
We forgot to talk about that. Remember that conversation we had?
We did, yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah, they did it. I'm surprised. I mean, they did exactly what I was saying they shouldn't do, or they should do if it's Brock Purdy. I was saying he should sign it and not wait. But I think the 49ers royally fucked that one up.
What did I say, bro? Well, I said they should wait. After all this shit, they should wait. Why give him a bag? You threw everyone away for him. Yeah. You threw everyone away, and now you're going to see either the repercussions of it. It's going to be either really good, he's going to snap, or he's going to shit the bed, and you're going to look at this contract and be like, what the fuck were we thinking? What, dude, this is exactly why. I forgot that you mentioned this. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go crazy on it, but this was exactly what we were talking about. Like, you're giving this man from $765,000 salary a year to God knows how much now. What is he getting? He's getting $255.
It's something crazy like that.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, it's not for what he is. It's not terrible. I'll give him that. Like it's a lot of money, but you're not paying him, top dollar like Dak and top dollar like, Trevor Lawrence and all these guys, but it's kind of in the same ballpark in a way. I don't see why. I don't know why people are calling this team underrated now. I think they got worse. I think they are going to be worse.
I agree with you. And I'm looking at their schedule right now, and I think saying a team is underrated and that they're not going to make the playoffs and all this, that's a different type of scenario. I think when we call a team underrated, we got to really look at how they play football.
Yes.
Their schedule is set up for them kind of perfectly. I still don't think that they're going to dominate these games, but they have a lot of, on paper, what should be easy games. Like you're playing the AFC South. You're playing the NFC South. Like, there's a lot of winnable games in those two divisions. I mean, you got
Saints and Titans right off the bat.
Saints, Titans, Arizona. You got Jacksonville in there. You got the Giants on your schedule. Cleveland Browns are on your schedule.
Yeah, so their schedule is easy, but I'm not sold in that team. Good,
Yeah,
good.
but it's
just so I know in the future.
Yeah, it's a very easy schedule, but to say they're underrated, I think is that's like malpractice of words.
Yes.
To say they're underrated, we can say a team is bad while also having a very easy.
Because
schedule.
how can they be underrated when last year, they were a potential Super Bowl favorite,
Sure,
with the team and with the players that they had and the team that they had, but now they can't be underrated because they just did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They got rid of Debo. They got rid of
they signed George Kittle too to a lot of money.
They gave him a massive bag, Ricky Pearsall still recovering from getting shot in the chest.
Crazy.
Brandon Ayuk, pretty bad contract now as it's looking at it.
Yeah, 'cause he can't stay on the field.
What are we going to see from McCaffrey?
Can't stay on the field.
Can't stay on the field. And
They have a lot of guys that can't stay on the field when you look at it.
No, and I think it's just not working. Their time is coming up. Listen, Ethan was right. They are a ticking time bomb, and we're seeing it now. Now it's really it's Brock and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Is Brock going to play up to the contract that he deserves? Is Christian McCaffrey going to stay on the field healthy? Because when he is on the field, that's a tough team, and he makes it a tough team by the way he is on the field. They still got Fred Warner at linebacker, one of the best in the league. I just don't see it. I just feel like they're losing steam. They kind of are a ticking time bomb, and they gave Brock a contract at. I wouldn't say it's a bad time because you got the draft. You're gonna have some drafts. You're gonna have free agencies. You're gonna make trades. So it's just the shelf life is getting low. Especially for these positional players.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you look at his contract and the timing of it. It makes me think that thing's going to get restructured a couple times. I think if they had waited, they would have put themselves in a bit of cap hell towards the end of next year, especially when they look at, all right, what do we really need? Because this year's going to be a rebuild. It's a rebuild year. Yeah, you're having pieces come back. You have a chance to win. You still want to win.
But you're not beating the Eagles.
No, like you're not in a position to beat the Eagles. Hell, you're not in a position to beat Dallas. Giants are the only NFC East team that they might have a chance to beat. And honestly, the Giants got better. Mm-hmm. So it's a very interesting scenario there that's happening in San Fran. But what are you going to take? 10.5?
I'm going to take the under on that too.
I am too.
With the Chiefs, I'll probably take the under, but I think they hit 11 wins.
Me too. I think San Fran ends at like 8 or 9. I think the Chiefs are going to get to 11, and it's going to be like a Week 17 sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But their schedule is kind of easy, San Francisco. Like they're a team that's this is my last thing on that. They're a team that they are one injury away from being absolute dog shit. Whether it be Christian McCaffrey, whether it be Trent Williams, whether it be Brock Purdy, like one of those guys goes down, their season is fucked. Mm-hmm. So maybe not so much McCaffrey because Jordan Mason did it, but you know what I mean. I just don't see the vision. I don't see, what is the future looking like for this team? Yeah. I don't see it. Yeah, Brock can be the future, but what about everything else? Is Ricky Pearsall going to be that guy? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, last thing, and then I want to get into the two parlays that I have. I want to talk about the Jets a bit.
Sure, I would love to.
I thought this was interesting. Buffalo, their line was set at 11.5. The Jets are at 6.5. Miami 7.5, and New England 8.5. So the Jets are currently predicted to come in last place,
third or fourth, yeah,
and
or fourth, yes.
It's weird to me because I feel like Miami's line should be lower than the Jets. I feel like New England should be pretty similar to the Jets, and they still have the Jets across multiple books. I fact-checked this to make sure it was completely accurate.
6.5.
And, well, no, just they have them at the lowest total. And I think the Jets got better, which is the sad part of it, because I thought the Jets would come out and it'd be like second or third place easy. The win total is not saying that.
For me, with the Jets, I think that they have the highest percentage of least returning players in the league. I think it's about 58%. So there's a lot of turnover on this team. Justin Fields, what is he going to look like? You're having a whole new coaching staff come in, a whole new system that's coming in, a lot of new players. Offensive line, tight end, defense. Like there's a lot of new faces in this team, and that's they're going to struggle. They will struggle right off the bat. I have right off the bat, I don't know, but it's not going to gel right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see why the line is there, but I also think as a Jets fan, I'm so real about every team that I watch. I really do think the players are good. I think our star players are, premium positional players are fucking solid. Olu Fashanu had a solid year last year. You know, the O-line got better on paper.
Yeah.
You know, can they just stay healthy? You know, can AVT stay healthy? Can Joe Tippmann stay healthy? Garrett Wilson, I think, could be one of the top receivers in the league. I truly do. Breece Hall, you know, when he's healthy and, you know, he's not getting smothered by, you know, a shit O-line play, I think he's a top back. Like, it's not like we don't have players. The defense is solid. It's just we've never had the coaching. And I think they can clear 6.5 wins. I truly do. You know, when you get a guy like Aaron Glenn coming in and, you know, trying to sell the players on the culture and trying to have them, you know, buy in, that's the perfect guy to do it. And a shout out to Woody for actually making a fucking great decision for once. Darren Muji, another thing, like, decent draft. But my thing is, let me move on with the Jets here, because I all in all, they will clear. I think they will hit the over, but they got to click right off the bat. They can't wait. They can't wait until week 4 where they start heating up, because then it's out. It's out of the picture of the playoffs. It's gone.
That's where I was going to say that they play the Steelers week 1, which I think is a perfect matchup for them, a perfect way to kick off the year. It's at home. It's a 3-point spread. And Justin Fields' revenge game almost. And it's kind of a lot of these young guys, it's a moment to prove themselves. You know, who knows who's going to be the quarterback of the Steelers week 1? No one does. I don't even know if the Steelers know who's going to be the quarterback or have an idea.
I don't think they have any idea.
So I think it's kind of a perfect situation for the Jets, because the Jets are in a very stable position right now. When you look at, all right, there's no real moving pieces now. Right now it's just, all right, we're together. Let's prepare for the season. Whereas the Steelers, there's still
a lot going on.
There's still a lot of spinning around the circle here for them. And
there's a lot going on.
A lot.
And that's what's nice. The one thing, I don't mean to cut you off here, but like the Jets not being in the spotlight right now, because look at last year, dude. We were all over these fucking channels, ESPN, McAfee, you know, Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God, it's Tuesday at God knows what time. He's got to talk about DMT. Like, the fact that we don't have to worry about any of this BS going on. Have you heard a thing about the Jets in the offseason? No. Nothing. Like, good. Like, that's what I want. The Jets, the New York goddamn Jets should not be marketed at all. No one should give a shit about them, and I hope they don't. They shouldn't. So the Steelers on the other end, all it is Aaron Rodgers. Dude, Aaron Rodgers is what he does. He's a fucking cancer to your team. Just brings you, you know, like, is Tomlin going to put up with that? I don't know. You know, like, that's the thing. It makes sense. Everything, you know, the stars are aligning where he gets to play the Jets again, a team he just left. Steelers get a quarterback, but that's what they figured out. And they're on headlines. You know, they're a team that's being talked about to this day, because what the hell are they doing at quarterback?
Yeah. Well, do you think Tomlin could kind of reel Rodgers in, because it's that mutual respect of, you know, you have two GOATs of the game together, whereas in New York it wasn't really like that. You know, you had very new head coaches, and Aaron Rodgers walking in there like, all right, I've done this, that, and the other. I've had Mike McCarthy. I've had very good coaching up in Green Bay. I've won Super Bowls. Now I'm coming here, and you guys really have won nothing. Like, this team has done nothing. So it was more of like a listen to me, and I'll show you the way. Where in reality, it should have never been like that.
No.
And in Pittsburgh, now he's going to be working directly with a guy who has done it, who has been successful. He's one of the best coaches of all time. It might be a little different, but I do think it would hinder Will Howard.
For sure. My thing is, does Mike Tomlin want to deal with all the shit that comes with Aaron Rodgers?
No.
And that's why it's like Aaron Rodgers at this time, okay, I was watching the Brett Favre Untold documentary last night.
Oh, I'm sure that was good.
Wild.
Wrangler.
Yeah, right. I see they were showing
what
the
is
jeans
the other
commercials.
one? What's
everything.
the Copperfit and Wrangler?
And then he was doing. There was like a concussion medicine.
Of course,
Formatus or something. I forget. But anyways, Jesus Christ. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like Rodgers is at the point now where everyone is going to question his, you know, determination to playing football. Like, are you bought in? Are you all in? We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is all in. We don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing on a daily basis, if he's even having conversations with, you know, Khan and Mike Tomlin and the Rooneys. Like, if I'm the Steelers, I don't do it. I don't care if you know, we come in fourth to the division. Why, you know, pay this guy $20 million a year to come in? He's not at OTAs. You know, doesn't have a contract. Like, why bring that to Pittsburgh. Everyone saw it with the Jets last year, and it clearly didn't work out. Like, why bring it to Pittsburgh? You brought back Mason Rudolph because he's been there. He's familiar with Mike Tomlin. He's played in the system. They're a run-heavy team. They got Caleb Johnson. They got Jalen Warren, Will Howard. Like, I just don't think it's necessary. Like, let's be real here. Do we really think they're going to win the division? They could, but Baltimore's still elite. The Bengals are the Bengals when, they don't start out 1-5. I think it's a really good time to transition to let's play for next year. Let's get a quarterback, and we got DK in a 5-year deal, like get him familiar with the system. They're in a really weird situation. I don't know. I don't like the situation they're in because they haven't solved the issue of quarterback, and they pretty much brought DK in to, waste his first year. You're paying him $30 million to just play. Like, it doesn't make sense.
The Steelers are kind of like Arsenal in a way where, every year they're just solid, but you don't expect them to win anything.
No.
They're not good enough to win anything. They'll push.
Except Arsenal fans.
They will get above 500. They will never be that bad. They're never going to be Man United, Everton, Chelsea. They'll always push. They'll always try to win the division. They'll make the playoffs sometimes. So they'll extend their run a few more games. But ultimately, it's going to end in heartbreak every year. That's what the Steelers are nowadays with Tomlin and that team and the way that the Rooneys are building this team.
You think they should sign Rodgers? You think they should bring him in?
No. I think they should rock with Will Howard. I think Will Howard can do just fine with what he's got there. This team, even if Rodgers comes in, Rodgers would be stepping into exactly what the Jets were the last year. And what did he do? Nothing. So what's the point of paying a guy all this money to create headaches, to go on Pat McAfee and basically tell secrets from the locker room every day and, do DMT?
Thank God.
Yeah, there's so many things could just go wrong. And it's like, if your season's already not going to be great, why add to it? Like, just let Will Howard go in there and maybe he develops and he's good. What? If you bring Rodgers in, you're never going to find out if Will Howard can play football.
Exactly.
And, I think Will Howard can play football. I think he proved that he can play football. I mean, hell, he won the championship last year. The bad quarterbacks don't win the championship. Yeah, sure, they might not translate to the NFL, but I think he's good enough to compete, to give you a few wins, to get you your 9 wins that Steelers fans love. Like, I think it's perfect. I think this is a perfect year to go with him, and then if it's bad, next year you go get a guy.
Yeah. For Steelers fans, it's just something you don't want. Like as a Jets fan watching that team the last 2 years, it was miserable. It was not fun. There was nothing fun. I would have rather had fucking Josh McCown in there playing than Aaron Rodgers because you weren't going to win anything. Like, it was just going to be fun and you were going to see some crazy shit. But the first year, runs out with the American flag, goes down. Now I got to see Zach Wilson play again. Great. Unbelievable. Fucking awesome. Lost 5 wins. Next year, now there's apparently the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, they're going to the Super Bowl. Let's just hold on a little bit. And just miserable. Why? It was aggravating watching that team because of all the expectation that was put on us. The Jets fans knew we could win, and Super Bowl no, but make the playoffs and have a little bit of fun. Yes, but the last 2 years was just miserable. It was terrible to watch. It was not fun. But I'm actually excited for this year, if barring any freaking injury, like, I can't wait to see Justin Fields play. Like, everything has come full circle from being drafted after every quarterback to now, being on the Bears, being on the Steelers, and now being on the Jets. So I wanted them to draft. Like, it's all come full circle, man. And he's got something to prove. Like, it's not just, hey, I'm here and I'm just filling in for, whoever you draft next year. Like, no, he's got a, $20-30 million deal for 2 years. Like, it's time. Like, it's time to show that you could play quarterback and you could be a good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I agree with you. And before we move on to the parlays and a couple of our favorite picks.
Follow, subscribe, follow, subscribe, back to the show.
Dude, speaking of Zach Wilson and Mormons, Secret Life of Mormon Wives. Hell of a show.
Really?
The drama on it is unreal, dude. These girls are insane.
How so?
It's just like...
Is it on camera? We could talk about on camera?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is... Do you know the show I'm talking about?
Is it... Well,
it's an actual show.
Yeah, is it on like Netflix or something?
No. It's... I actually don't know what channel it's on. But... started watching it like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I finished the season quick. We're on to season 2. We're almost done season 2. Bro, Demi, crazy person. I don't know what she's up to. Jess, can't tell her apart from Demi. And then this other girl, Jen, like I do feel bad for Jen, but like you cannot lie about being Ben Affleck's cousin. Like you just can't do that, especially when it's just very obvious that you're not.
It's not like a girl in a book club right now. Jen, her story, unbelievable.
And I don't know how this is going to be taken by the female listeners. We have like 2% female listeners, but if you do watch the show, I think Michaela's probably fantastic. I think she's probably, but she gets in arguments constantly. Did
Alexa get you to watch this, bro?
She hates this. Yes, but I'm more invested than her.
Now?
Yeah. Listen, I'm like the opposite. Like these reality shows, they fucking get me, dude.
Yo, all right, ready?
Vanderpump Villa, problem. Stassi's back, problem. Vanderpump Rules. I mean, it's going to be new, but it's
Love Island. You ever see that?
Can't get into that one.
Oh man,
I'll try.
My ex sucked me into Love Island bad.
Is it good?
Yes. I was watching it like alone, brother.
I'll try. See, but that's how I am with this.
I was like, shit. I got a whole season to watch. Like it was actually
these shows
kind of enjoyable.
Dude, these shows had me contemplating watching Real Housewives. I might start it.
Do you ever like? For me, like I'm weird. Like I have a massive list on Netflix, and like I just don't know what to watch anymore. Because like I feel like it's like a task, like I just need to get it done, but I also want to watch something for enjoyment. Like there's so much shit that I have on my list.
Yeah,
like I don't know where to start. No idea.
I get so locked into this. When Lex won't, sorry to shout you out here, but when she won't let me watch, I just start chanting Mormon mommies at her.
Really?
I'm like Mormon mommies, dude. Fantastic.
Hey,
show.
that's what she asked for it.
Fantastic show.
She asked for it.
Yeah. So highly recommend everybody.
Why the fuck did we talk about that? How did Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, Mormon.
Like how the hell did we get on this conversation?
All right, let's get into these parlays. So I have two.
Okay.
One's a miss the parlay and one's a make the playoffs. Or miss the playoffs, make the playoffs parlay. So the miss the playoffs one, I love these.
Oh God.
I'm going with the Titans, the Raiders, and the Colts plus 137. Fucking hammer that. None of those teams are making the playoffs. Like you guys, if you make the playoffs, it's your year. Go to the casino because you should not make the playoffs. I hope that one's like guaranteed.
What about the Browns? That's you got to throw the Browns.
Odds are too high. Odds are too high.
So the Jets. The Jets are like
odds are too high. Yeah,
true.
I
think I put one of those in too. Funny enough, I'll show you after.
Yeah. To make the playoffs now, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm just gonna ride them. Like they're gonna make it. I'm taking the Ravens. Like I said earlier.
Cincy.
No. What?
Cincinnati?
No, the Baltimore Ravens.
I know, but you take it Cincy as well?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys. That one's a hard pick. So if you don't want to take that, put the Eagles in. But plus 310.
That's not bad.
No, not bad at all. I love both of those because I think Dallas is going to sneak in the back door. I still think Philadelphia wins the division, even though Dallas is probably the front runner because no one wins the division twice in a row.
Damn right.
But I love both of those. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have something like that. One team to make I like the Colts to miss the playoffs. I do like that. To make the playoffs, I believe one team that I think the Rams are stamped. Mm-hmm. I think you just have to take them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think you got to take the Bucs to make the playoffs. I like the Bengals to make the playoffs. To miss the playoffs, Miami. That is my number one lock. They're probably like plus like 250 to miss the playoffs. I think they are 100% missing the playoffs.
Pull it up.
The Patriots are intriguing. Watch out for them too. Who else did I take?
The Dolphins are minus 215 to miss the playoffs.
Minus 215 to miss the playoffs?
Yeah.
My God. Okay, I probably got them at a good line then, but yeah, they're missing the playoffs.
Oh, I forgot this one. I also took the Carolina Panthers at 235 to make the playoffs.
Make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Nice. So that's a good lay.
I have two more as well. Let me pull them up here. They're in team specials under Fanduel. I have the Cowboys to score one touchdown every regular season game at plus 100. And I also have the Jets to score one touchdown every regular season game, plus 220.
Plus 220?
You just got to get one touchdown every game. One tutty.
Even that's a scary bet.
I know. I'm really scared for the Jets there.
Can I look at the bets?
Yeah, go for it.
We'll probably be done after that, right?
Sure. I get it. You don't want to hang out.
No, I do want to hang out.
Sure.
All right, ready? You ever realize how loud we are when we don't have these on?
Yeah, so loud.
When I went, I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're loud as shit.
Yeah.
It really covers it up. We
It's
are
crazy.
loud.
Yeah. Imagine when we actually argue.
Oh, we're screaming.
All right, what'd you have?
Let me look. I'm getting sent verification codes and everything.
Oh,
All right,
Lord.
here we go. All right, we're in. So I did put a couple of things in. So, wow. Okay, no, I put 2 things in. So I did division winners.
Oh, okay.
Division winners. I did was 10 to win $1,047.
Beautiful.
Bucks
Yep.
South.
That's gonna lose, but okay, keep going.
Buffalo Bills AFC East. Cincinnati Bengals AFC North. AFC South is Houston, and then AFC or NFC North is the Chicago Bears. Straight value.
All right. One comment on that, just right off the bat.
Sure.
Not confident in it, but I'll ride with you.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Hold on a minute. Okay. And then we have a big over-under win totals parlay. So this is
Perfect.
10 win, $946.
All right, give it to me.
Under 11.5 for Baltimore.
Under.
I took the under there.
Perfect.
Under 7.5 for Tennessee. Over 5.5 for the Jets. I got them at 5.5. Under 6.5. Number one, why the fuck are the Saints having a bigger line than the Jets?
When did you place this?
This was on May 10th.
That's why.
May
That's
10th.
why.
We're
Because
like,
Rodgers was still predicted to go to the Saints.
wow. So
Yeah.
under 6.5 wins, under 8.5 wins for Miami, over 9.5 for Cincinnati, over 4.5 for Carolina. Stamped.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Carolina is going. People don't understand. Like they think I'm joking.
I
With
can't
them.
wait till they actually win.
They're gonna win 8 to 11 games this year.
We gotta take the Flyers fucking thing down and just put Bryce Young's jersey.
By the way, I ordered the jersey.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I respect it. You know, you can go to. You're gonna be that fan when we go to MetLife. You're just gonna be wearing a Bryce Young jersey.
Well,
It's
no,
like,
because we got to talk about that.
what do you mean? We're going.
Yeah, I know. Dallas.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be wearing a Bryce Young jersey. Dak Prescott, Big Daddy Dak. But yeah, no, I do want to get I want to get a Panthers banner when they win the division.
Okay.
That says division winner.
Division winner.
I want, like, you know how the Eagles.
2026.
Yeah, you know how the Eagles are gonna put up their Super Bowl banner. I want a division banner, and we can move these down. I want to put it right
We
here.
could just
behind
have
me.
it roll down.
Yeah.
Just have a whole little.
I want to do a whole ceremony. First episode after the Super Bowl.
All right. Deal.
Or after the divisions.
Okay, that's fine.
If they win a Super Bowl, we have to go to the parade.
I'm down.
I want to go to the parade.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That would be wild. I mean, their odds are probably incredible. But
Yeah.
let me finish up. Under 8.5 for San Fran, over 5.5 for Seattle, over 3.5 for the Giants. 10 to win, 946. Just a couple of things that I bet. And
I love the Giants one because I think that the Jackson Dart situation there, I have a feeling he's going to be the starter. I don't know if you saw the picture of the 4 quarterbacks, but I mean, he's the only one that looks capable of throwing a football and playing. So
yeah,
even if
could
Russell
happen.
Wilson plays, I think that team's too solid all around for them to not get, what was it? 3.5?
He's got a short leash, yes.
I think 4 wins. 4 wins is easily attainable because they're going to probably take 2 off the NFC East alone this year. And I'm not sure who those 2 will come against. Probably not the Cowboys. But they'll get 2 wins there. And then you're just looking at 2 other wins throughout the year. So it's almost a guarantee.
I think Russell Wilson has a really short leash. I think if they lose 2 in a row, he's done.
Yeah.
Like, it's come to that point now. There's no way. They're not going to do what the Steelers did.
Yeah.
No shot.
The question becomes, all right, if he's very bad week 1, is it Jameis Winston or Jackson Dart?
Yeah, and they still have James.
So that'll be an interesting scenario for Daboll because I'm not sure.
I don't think Jameis is
I
gonna
think
be
he
one
loves
quarterback,
Jackson Dart, but I don't know if Daboll wants to just throw Jackson Dart into the fire based on recent history in New York between both teams. I think that I could see him throwing Jameis in if it's really bad week 1 and playing Jameis week 2 and then letting it ride for a couple weeks knowing Jameis isn't going to be like lighting the world up and then let Jackson Dart take over around like week 4 or 5.
Really?
Let him really get his feet wet.
It's I don't want to record anymore. I figure we're done, but all good.
Yeah.
Jameis is just a weird situation. I feel like he's just there for like the fucking vibes. Like it's just like, what are you gonna do with him? Like if you drafted this guy so early, Jackson Dart, you might as well. I mean, if Russ sucks, like throw him in and see what you got. If you know you're fucking 1-5, might as well play him.
I think I think Jameis Winston is there to help Jackson Dart more than Russell Wilson is there to help Jackson Dart.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Like I think Russell Wilson is there to actually play the football
and win games
and try to win games. I think Jackson Dart is there to learn from Jameis. Jameis is going to be on the sideline in his ear, helping him through the game, talking about progressions. And then I really find it when I keep seeing these videos and pictures of all the quarterbacks together, I really find it hard to believe that Jackson Dart is not going to start a football game this year. I really do. I think but if he's not playing by week 10 to 12, like if we don't see him on the field in week 10 or 12, I don't think he plays this year.
Yeah.
But I do think we see him like week 3.
Last thing, what do you? Yeah, I would hope so, bro. I think it'd be fun, like because the Giants know they're not winning shit. You might as well just see the guy play. But last thing here, what do you think of the Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scattaboo running back battle? You think it's going to be Tyrone starting off the bat? You think Cam might just take the position, just kind of 1A 1B?
No, yeah, I think they go 1A, 1B. I think Tyrone, he played too well last year for them to kind of shaft him like that.
Yeah.
But also you got to look at, I believe, Cam Scott, unless I'm getting NBA Sentineled, which please let me know. But I saw something this morning when I was just scrolling through Twitter finding stuff that he said he has a little bit of hood in him, but he's got a little bit of country. So I don't know if that's real or not, but I fucking love that.
Yeah.
So I can see him being the starter based off that quote.
Yeah, on the Amon Ra podcast, and then Amon Ra was saying some crazy shit on this podcast, bro. He's got to relax. I saw him like, dude, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, I know you're like, you got a shitload of money, but watch your mouth, buddy.
Yeah, it's like crazy
shit.
But
that's just
all right. That's a good way to leave off.
Yeah, this is a long one. This is a long episode. Yeah, good stuff. Like, follow, subscribe.
You're not even in the camera.
Like, follow, subscribe. You know what? Hand up on me. Like, follow, subscribe. Muller, myself, B team. We're out. See ya.